Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we are at property address 2213 Hazel Avenue Northeast here in Salem. We are located on the back side of the house. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the home. Also the same side here, or at least I'm assuming it's the front. I'm going off the side of the house that has a driveway. I'm calling that the front of the house. So we're at the back of the home here. We've got a 4-inch 3034 clean out. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running, and we're going to zero out here just at the base of the access. And we should see some water tying in here in just a moment. Oh, okay, actually what we've got here is actually clay pipe, that clean out access. Yeah, it ties into the original clay, so you've got actually a clay sewer line here. That PVC there, I was hoping this thing had maybe been updated, but you've got some that right there looks more like a drain connection than anything. That does not, that looks more like a man-made hole there. Although you do look like you've got some small root hairs punching through, as well as here. And that, unfortunately, is the one downside. Clay pipe, honestly, is actually a very good pipe material. The stuff remains smooth throughout its lifespan. It doesn't get rough like concrete pipe does, but the weak point in it are the pipe joints. They're grouted, which is concrete, and unfortunately when you get years and years of expansion, contraction of the soil, and just wear and tear, that grout wears out, the joints open up to the ground, they start to suck dirt through them, groundwater, which is what's likely caused the settling to occur, is that hydro erosion erodes the support out from underneath the sewer line, but it also, you know, allows roots to get in fairly easily too. We've got some buildup in the line here, but you know, just based upon what I'm seeing already, this is a line that's at the point here where it's about ready for update. And you can keep it humming along, or at least babied along anyway, by doing drain cleaning. It's just, that's just not what most people are hoping to do with a sewer line, is have to keep up with stuff like that. So we just transitioned there over to 3034 PVC pipe again. Well, it looks like a portion of this has been dealt with, which is nice to see. I hit too many more turns here, and we're not going to get all the way out. Beautiful. There's the main lateral. Unfortunately, we went through a bunch of schmaltz there a second ago, and it gunked the camera lens up, but I can see it well enough here. We're going to go locate really quick while the line drains out. We'll have a better look at everything. I mean, at the least, the clay pipe here is at a point where it is very much ready for update. Again, like I was saying before, you can, you know, do periodic root cutting, stuff like that to keep things moving along, but it's a constant animal you have to keep up with. It's not ideal, especially when every pipe joint in the line is compromised to some extent with roots. We are getting buildup occurring at least in one location there. Sorry, I'm trying to get this jump off my lens. Alright, we're going to go locate here, and any paint markings I do will be with green paint. Alright, just attempted locating there. I'm having a heck of a time picking up the locate, but I'm not terribly surprised. This line looks like it is extraordinarily deep by the time you hit the main. This thing does a lot of diving. So we're going to pull back here. We still have a little bit of water trickling through the line. We're going to pull back to the start of the clay, or I'm sorry, the end of it. Once we get up above this hard dive here, we should hopefully have a better shot at locating things. That thing does one serious dive right there. Looks like you might have a little bit of standing water right here. This is very minor, rinky-dink stuff. And we still have a little bit of water moving through the line right now. By the time that drains off there, I mean, you're going to be left over with maybe a 1/16 to a 1/4 inch of standing water. That's not the kind of standing water I'm looking for. That's the kind of stuff that causes and look at, you're at the base of another hard vertical drop here too. It's one of those lines, by the time you hit the main, it wouldn't surprise me if this thing's 20 feet deep. So I'm glad that part of it has been dealt with already. So any standing water beyond that point, with the amount of vertical drop that has, you would have to abuse this thing like no tomorrow to ever get a blockage in standing water, the kind of standing water you have beyond this point. Even if that whole line was submerged underwater, you would still struggle to back up. So it's that. We're going to go locate here. Alright, so it looks like the line here is kind of counterintuitive. The direction this clean out faces does not appear to be the way that the line actually runs. This clean line actually kind of double backs on itself. Looks like the line is going out to the alleyway. The hard part is there is so much overgrowth in there, it is going to be almost impossible to locate without having it weed whacked first. So I'm going to at least get back in here. The plus side is, until you get out to that PVC section there, the line does not do any hard diving whatsoever. In fact, it's settled to the point where it's sitting almost flat right now. So once we get back in here a little ways, you can guesstimate the depth of that relatively easy. And the line here basically just runs dead straight. Alright, so basically straight behind where the clean out is at here, we're very close to where there's a little spigot coming out of the ground. We're at 5'7" deep there. So once we get about beyond this point right here, there's so much overgrowth and sticker bushes, I just can't really get in there to do any kind of locating. And you'd never in a million years be able to even see the paint markings, even if you could. So I'm going to try and push out here, back out to the end of the PVC. I'm hoping I can catch this as it goes into the alleyway. Now I've moved my camera. If you go walking back into all that stuff right now, you might see a marking. As I pull back further, I just cannot really get to where I need to get to. This would have to get weed whacked. Either way, I can tell this line at one point had slope and grade to it. It doesn't appear to be diving like crazy. So if you account for that, by the time you hit that transition there, you're probably getting into about the 7.5 foot, 8 foot deep mark is what I'd wager. The line's diving at a decent angle. But anyway, if you see a paint marking way back in there, just disregard that. The only marking that I can do right now that's even accurate is starting right here about 13 feet out and back. We do have a clean out down in the basement. We're going to try and go through that here in a second, because I have a feeling there is some other pipe on the other side of this clean out that's probably in a similar condition. Radio.
Oh, is that right?
I would. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move to the basement clean out here. Oh, this is so confusing. This actually does tee. I just don't know if I can get the camera to go the direct. Yeah, it's just not going to. It's a very weird line. Oh, okay, I see what's going on here. What we're actually hitting right now is a vertical stack. What I think, and we're going down. The other side of that goes upward. If I could turn my camera, here we go, rotate it. If I could go the other direction, we'd be going straight up in the air. Right through the wall here where this clean out's at, you can see exposed cast iron main line. That right there is likely where that cast iron main line comes out of the house and dives into that spot right there. Right through this wall, through that window, you have a big bunch of cast iron that comes right this direction towards this wall. So anyway, the line, the clean out would make you believe the line goes that way. It goes this direction off into the jungle towards the alleyway. Anyway, I recommend all clay pipe there be updated for very obvious reasons. It is way time for that to happen. We're going to go ahead and move to the other clean out access and see if this persists back to this point. Because there's that bathroom in the basement. We probably have another 20 feet of pipe here. Okay, we're now down here in the bathroom, basement bathroom. next, between the bath, the toilet, and the wall here, you've got a 3-inch ABS cleanout. That water you're seeing there is from the sink I've got running down here right now. Now dropping into 3-inch, yep, and there's the clay pipe right there, immediately outside the house. And based on that Y connection there, it's possible you may have some pipe be even further back. What it serves is hard to say though. It could simply be, this place is old enough, it wouldn't surprise me if the storm system's tied into it, potentially at least was at one point, but there's no access point to go back even further beyond that Y connection, so I'm just not sure. That would be worth, while the line is open during a repair, to run the camera backwards during the open pipe to see what that feeds into. It might be stubbed off just after that Y for all I know, but it's kind of hard to say. Alright, so I went out and took a locate here just outside the foundation. You're at about 5 feet deep from this point here. And as far as I can tell, that likely, if that pipe extends further back, that is most likely storm system. I don't know what other type of plumbing in the house would tie into it. If you walk along the back of the house, the direction that Y would be coming from, or that pipe would come from, there is about a 2-inch drain that drops out of the back of the house down into the ground. So it's likely storm system is everything else that's related to, is my assumption. So it would be very much worth looking at that when the ground is opened. Anyway, either way, I recommend a full update to all clay pipe here. If your storm system's tied into that stuff, you know, ideally you want to update end to end on this thing. I just can't really tell how far back it extends to. Make sure you do a rescope after any repairs are done. You want to do that when the trench is closed to ensure you don't have any settling problems.